Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Tuesday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on this Tuesday?
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. It's a season to be jolly.
Christmas Eve.
That's right. Yeah.
We got a big show planned.
Christmas games, a snooze fest.
Yeah.
The games, they're all meaningless games to me.
They look good to start the year.
The Lions have to win.
Well, yeah, no, their season's basically over if they don't. We're looking at Dallas, Washington. That'll be Dak Prescott against Josh Johnson. It'll be Jared Goff against Max Brosmer. And it would be Bo Nix against their third or fourth string quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Whoever that is.
Can't even pronounce his name very well. So, it's a big snooze fest for Week 17 to start it on Christmas Day. But that does not mean that the games that we just saw need to be diminished at all. Week 16. By the way, Harvey Hodden, I told you, I felt great about my picks. 4-1. That's a great sign. Great sign. We picked some crazy upsets. We got a massive show planned for you today. But I do want to get into something that I saw coming. I predicted it a long time ago. In fact, let's listen to what I said back November 11th when we were covering the news that Brian Daboll had been fired as head coach of the New York Giants. So take a listen to our discussion and my prediction on what could happen if Brian Daboll turned out that he was, but if he ever was fired. Take a listen.
I'm skipping the end of this season. I'm talking about, maybe this season, we'll see, but if next season, whoever they hire.
A lot of this season left.
Well, their season's over. They have 2 wins. But if we go into next year, give it a month. If Jaxson Dart looks nothing like he does this season, you'll know they fired the wrong guy. You know they shouldn't have fired Daboll.
All right, well, that's a hypothetical.
Respectfully, you are my co-host, but that was pretty inaccurate because the data shows that Jaxson Dart with Brian Daboll, yes. Was there more risk involved? Sure. Was there, situations where you don't like the fact that he took a lot of big-time hits? Sure. But if you look at the data backs it up saying, well, Jaxson Dart was the guy with Brian Daboll. These are his numbers with Brian Daboll as his head coach. Very, very good numbers. 2-5 records, 62% completion percentage, 247.7 total yards a game. He had more total touchdowns and fewer turnovers than Josh Allen, 17.5. Passer rating was a 93.5. He had an EPA per dropback of plus 0.05. His team averaged 23.5 points per game with Brian Daboll as his head coach. What about post-Daboll? It's only 3 games compared to 7, but let's take a look with Mike Kafka, his OC, as the interim head coach. Oh, he's fallen off the face of the earth. Completion percentage down. Doesn't have a single win. A total yards per game is down nearly 100. Touchdown to turnover ratio. It's 3-2. Passer rating 78.5. EPA per dropback. Remember, it's plus 0.05 with Brian Daboll. With Mike Kafka, it's minus 0.34. By the way, I don't think he's had a positive EPA game so far with Mike Kafka. His team averages 16.3 points per game, and this is the exact split between the two if you want to compare them. Jaxson Dart is an entirely different quarterback with Brian Daboll as his head coach. To me, it made no sense. Why fire the guy that made him work? He took a chance. He had to start Russ. I mean, it seemed to be that was the right move because you signed into a big deal. You were also drafting a rookie, which, by the way, Joe Schoen tried to take credit for drafting Jaxson Dart, but we have video saying Brian Daboll pushed for Jaxson Dart to be drafted. So, again, taking credit for something that wasn't even really your move. That's an interesting play by Joe Schoen, trying to save a little bit of face there. But Brian Daboll made all these crazy moves. Again, I'm not sure exactly who pushed to start Russ. Maybe it was the fact that you have Jameis Winston and you're going to draft a young quarterback, so Russ is your veteran piece. Turned out it didn't work. So what do you do? You're down 0-3. You just put up a dud game against the Kansas City Chiefs that looked very, very winnable. You took a complete shot in the dark in Jaxson Dart, and it worked. In fact, I couldn't believe these numbers, and I've put them up before. Brian Daboll and Jaxson Dart were so good together that the New York Giants, the 3-win New York Giants? This was the offensive ranks with Jaxson Dart and Brian Daboll. Top 10 in points scored, number 8 total offense. They had the 5th most first downs. They were the 5th most effective team on third down, and they had the 9th lowest interception percentage. Jaxson Dart, Brian Daboll. Yes, Brian Daboll's record looks ugly. You know whose record looks really ugly? Look at any Jets head coach from the last decade. Look at any Giants coach prior from the last decade since Eli Manning was there and they made the playoffs back in 2016. Yeah. When you coach a bad team, you're going to have a bad record. That's kind of how it works. Unless you're a sensational coach like a Mike Vrabel or anyone who could really amp a team up from being, okay to tremendous like you did with the Tennessee Titans one year, maybe you could shock some people. But the Giants are doomed. Any New York team, really New Jersey team, they're doomed to begin with because either team, they've been the 2 worst teams in the 21st century. That's how bad these teams have been. The Jets are by far the worst. It's not even close. The Giants are, right down there. They're a bottom 10 team by far in the 21st century. But Jaxson Dart plus Brian Daboll worked. And now we're seeing that Jaxson Dart just doesn't look the same. He's not running as much as he used to. He's not extending plays as much as he used to. He's staying in the pocket much more. They've changed him. In fact, there was a clip on WFAN that I saw on Instagram. And my friend Nick, fan of the show, been on the show before, been on the show multiple times before, big-time Giants fan. He pointed out to me, because I don't follow Jaxson Dart. The WFAN host, I forget his name, so I apologize, was talking about how Jaxson Dart looked different. They're using him less. They're not, doing what Brian Daboll did and pushing him to do his best out there, doing what he does well, extending plays, running, you could argue, putting himself in harm's way. So my friend Nick pointed out, he liked that post. So Jaxson Dart's out here taking shots at the Giants organization, liking posts saying that they're basically screwing him over because they're not playing him up to the level that we kind of know him to play, which is a very, very good quarterback. Again, if we look at Jaxson Dart with Brian Daboll, he had more total touchdowns and fewer turnovers than Josh Allen, the 2024 NFL MVP. The guy who just went up against the Patriots down 21-0 and came back and won. That Josh Allen. The one that everybody was, praising last year, who, again, won the MVP award. Yeah, that Josh Allen. Jaxson Dart was a better quarterback than Josh Allen when he had Brian Daboll as his head coach. Since then, look at the numbers. Again, he's a terrible quarterback. They're not using him to the level that we expect. They're not using him to the level of talent that when we looked at him against the Chargers in his first ever start, we're like, oh, there's something there. The stats don't look great, but we see something. He's extending plays. There's energy around them. They're playing better. And don't give me anything about injuries to the offensive line. In fact, the last 3 games, the Giants, again, I can't believe it, have the 4th best pass blocking offensive line in the NFL. So don't tell me, Andrew Thomas went down and this or that. I don't care. I really don't care. In fact, with Jaxson Dart out there putting up those numbers, 31st in sacks allowed. 2nd worst offensive line pass blocking in the NFL with Brian Daboll as his head coach. I don't want to hear anything about offensive line. I want to hear the facts. And the facts are, you shouldn't have fired Brian Daboll until I see a coach go into the New York Giants organization, whether it be Joe Schoen or John Mara or whoever picks the head coach of the New York Giants, the next one, and all of a sudden we see the Jaxson Dart that we known to see this year. I'm going to keep saying, I don't care about the 21-40-1 record. To me, that doesn't matter because you coached a terrible team. In fact, you made the playoffs with Daniel Jones, who threw 15 touchdowns one year. You beat Lamar Jackson. You gave Lamar Jackson his first NFC loss. That Brian Daboll. The Brian Daboll that the first game against the Titans, you come from behind back. The coach of the year, Brian Daboll, I might add. I don't care about the record. You coached a terrible team that was going nowhere. Look at Robert Saleh. Look at what he's doing with the San Francisco 49ers, banged up defense. He's done a phenomenal job. In fact, I would completely expect, we'll see in March or in April, breaking news, Robert Saleh signs as the head coach of X. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because the fact that he got fired from the Jets after Aaron Rodgers embarrassed the New York Jets organization overseas, so, Woody Johnson had to make some sort of move when they were literally one game out from being tied for the number 1 seed in the AFC East. Are you kidding me? No, that was a bad firing, and this one will be too. People could talk about the record. People could talk about the lack of defense again. That's Shane Bowen. And again, you've said it in the past, and people have also said it. Why didn't Brian Daboll fire Shane Bowen? Well, why didn't John Mara, who, by the way, has a history of, making his mark on coordinators, saying, hey, fire him or you might be fired, which he's done over the course of his ownership of the New York Giants. He could have done that. He could have put pressure on Daboll saying, hey, it's you or him. He didn't. He just kind of said, Brian Daboll, you're done. We're not winning enough football games. Well, how many have you won since he's been fired? 0. A big fat goose egg. So congratulations, New York Giants. You're doing what we all expected you to do. Nothing. You could have done something. Again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You look at some of the games that Jaxson Dart and Brian Daboll did together. You look at some of those games and then maybe just change the outcome a little bit. Maybe they don't blow every single double-digit fourth quarter lead. Right now, as it stands today, they would be hovering around a 500 team, which, unfortunately, in the NFC this year, still wouldn't mean they're close to making a playoff spot, but they would at least be respectable. Jaxson Dart looks completely different, and unless you find a head coach to do Brian Daboll 2.0, maybe, if you have an issue with him being in the blue 10 every single week, okay, maybe you could find a way to make him a little bit safer, but still the Jaxson Dart that we've known throughout the season when he was coached by Brian Daboll. Otherwise, his potential is just going to, it already peaked. If you're using him like you are the last 3 weeks, his potential's peaked, which he's going to be a bottom 10 quarterback in the NFL like he's been the last 3 weeks. In fact, he didn't throw a pass until late in the second quarter against the Minnesota Vikings, who, by the way, started Max Brosmer because J.J. McCarthy went down. The Max Brosmer that threw 4 interceptions against the Seattle Seahawks and who got shut out. You lost to him. He was able to hold on to that lead, saved our point spread, by the way, because you and I both had Vikings minus 2.5, so we thank him for that. But that's how bad your team has been. Firing Shane Bowen didn't do anything. Bringing your outside linebacker coach to be the DC, that didn't do anything. And now Jaxson Dart with Mike Kafka, I don't care if you think he's tanking. The Giants gained the number 1 pick. You're not going to draft a quarterback. People saying draft Fernando Mendoza. I don't think that's a great idea. Jaxson Dart's your guy. I'd get a haul for those picks. Or that pick I would do. Get a bunch of draft picks. That's the only reason why you would keep it. You play the Raiders this week. You should be able to beat them. Will you? We'll see. Maybe Mike Kafka will screw it up. But again, we're seeing exactly what a team who thought, a terrible team who thought they had the answers, completely fall flat on their face. And it's really embarrassing because you're screwing over who everybody a month ago thought was the franchise guy. And now, last 3 weeks, we're like, you're hearing it everywhere. Maybe Fernando Mendoza. Trade Jaxson Dart. Let's draft a rookie quarterback. Did we not see the first 7 weeks of Jaxson Dart where he looked good? They had a top 10 scoring offense and a top 8 total offense. They were 5th most efficient team on third down. They had the 5th most first downs. Jaxson Dart had more total touchdowns and fewer turnovers than last year's MVP. But no, it's Brian Daboll's fault. I still won't get that for the rest of maybe my life. I don't know. Now, I did promise you a chance to defend yourself over that take, so I will give you. I'll give you the floor here.
Well, it's hard to know what's going to happen, and you make some good points about how well Dart played under Daboll. I think that they've been restricting him now because he got hurt so much, and he was in concussion protocol 5 out of his first 10 starts, or he had issues with injuries in 5 of his first 10 starts because he plays so recklessly. I think that Daboll has always been a good quarterbacks coach. With Josh Allen, he had Josh Allen step up to the next level when he coached him. He got a lot out of Daniel Jones until the second year when the offensive line was a sieve and Jones wound up getting hurt. So he is a good quarterbacks coach. I'll give you that. And I think that the reason he didn't fire Shane Bowen is because he gave Wink Martindale such a hard time the year before that Martindale just walked in and quit. And I don't think Daboll wanted to have another, issue with the defensive coordinator in the press as soon as this following year. So I think that had a lot to do with him not firing Shane Bowen, which I think he should have done. And he didn't. Maybe it could have saved his job. I don't know. I mean, this linebackers coach, maybe he wouldn't have got the defensive coordinator position under Daboll. There might have been a different coach. I don't know. But Kafka certainly is terrible, and he probably shouldn't have stepped up to be the interim head coach because he was considered for head coaching positions elsewhere, and maybe he would have gotten one. But wow, he'll never get a head coaching job now with some of the decisions he's made, and in these games. I just don't think where did he get his skills from? He doesn't seem to know what's going on. I think he's a very poor choice, and he's proven it. He hasn't won in any games. The quarterback play is declined dramatically. Poor Jaxson Dart. He says I'm going out there and execute the game plan as best I can. He had 33 passing yards in this past game. How could that happen? He only threw the ball 13 times. I don't get that. I think Kafka, maybe they should fire him for the last two games and put somebody else in there.
That's like last year's Bears team. They were firing everybody. Jets too. They were firing OCs. They were firing quarterbacks, coach. But this comparison, though, the record's terrible, but at least you're winning football games. Last 3 weeks of Kafka, 0-3. Completion percentage down. Total yards per game is down nearly 100. Touchdown interception ratio is not even close. EPA per dropback, plus 0.05 compared to minus 0.34.
Yeah.
He's losing the Giants points every time he snaps the ball. And then team points per game is down 7.
Well, I don't think he's I think they're just trying to get to the end of the season without him getting hurt badly. I think that's their strategy. Now they don't want him to get really hurt because they still think he is the future. And under a new coach with a new OC, maybe we'll see stats that are more like he had when he first started under Daboll.
Again, you have to weigh out, risk versus reward. Do you want a quarterback or do you want a statue in the pocket who's ineffective, who throws it 13 times for 33 yards?
No, I think they're just trying to make him a game manager to the end of the season, and so he doesn't get hurt.
In that case, make up a fake injury, put in Jameis Winston.
They're gonna. I don't know why they wouldn't consider that. Why not?
Because you can't. You can't just be like, Jaxson Dart has an injury.
Well, I wouldn't say injury. I would just say, just the last 2 games of the season, we're gonna play Winston. But I guess if you think Dart is your future, then you can't sit him down, right?
Right.
So I don't know. They're a mess. They are a mess.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're the worst team in the 21st century. They won 2 Super Bowls in the 21st century. Right?
How
could they be the worst team, one of the worst teams in the 21st century when they won Super Bowl twice?
Well, because you have to realize the record. They were 9-7 their first Super Bowl. The other one they were 11-5.
But they did win a Super Bowl.
I'm talking about wins and losses.
Oh.
That's what I was talking
about.
Well,
wins and losses don't tell the whole story. They won 2 Super Bowls and beat the Patriots in both of them. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's not.
I'm still hurt by it. I'm still hurt by those losses.
Giants are 24th in win percentage since
but how about
2000
and Super Bowls?
They have 2. Well, they have 2.
They have 2 in the 21st century. A lot of teams don't have any.
True. A lot of teams don't have it since their.
As a franchise, the Giants are still a very prominent franchise. They the thought is that they have a lot of talent, but we don't see it. I mean, we haven't seen it since Kafka took the reins. It's been non-existent, basically. It's really, it's a shame.
If you include playoffs, they're the third best.
I'm
winning
sure Brian
percentage.
Daboll is probably laughing up his sleeve watching these games. I mean, he'll get a job next year. Somebody will have him as a quarterbacks coach. That's where his super strength is. He gets quarterbacks to play well. No.
I just thought it's interesting.
And
Again,
why
Sure.
that said, how did he wind up with Russell Wilson starting?
I think that was just a veteran piece. I
It
think
couldn't have
that's
been
what it
his choice. It must not have been his choice.
Well, no,
It must have been Schoen's choice to say, well, we're going to start Russ. Because Russ was horrible.
Russ was terrible.
I mean, they lost 4 games right at the beginning because of Russ, basically. He was awful.
Yeah.
He was awful. They would have been better off just to start Dart then. Right? They might have won 2 of those games.
2 wins, by the way. So the only wins the Giants have this season, I said 3 wins, but the only wins that the Giants have were those 7 games that Jaxson Dart played.
Right. But I'd say if he started the season, if he'd been the quarterback on day 1, or maybe the second game, I don't know. Maybe they would have won 2 of those games. You know, and the dig on Daboll is they had those big leads in those games and they lost them.
Right.
And maybe if he'd won even one of those games, he would have kept his job. I don't know. But to lose those games the way he did, that was horrible.
No, it was bad.
It was pretty bad. So that had a lot to do with him losing his job too, I think.
Well, no, and again, you have to find a scapegoat somewhere. Whether it would have been Brian Daboll, whether it would have been Shane Bowen, whoever, you can't blame Jaxson Dart. The
Maybe
offense
it should have been the
averaged
GM.
You can't. Again, what I don't understand is now everybody's talking about it.
The GM turned on Daboll.
Oh,
I think.
absolutely.
He turned
100%,
on him to save his
100%.
own job.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Even though the moves he's made have not lived up to the price tag you paid, which, by the way, unintentional rhyme there. But yeah, no, it's. You have Jaxson Dart, who Brian Daboll wanted, and Shane tried to take credit for it. We have video of Brian Daboll campaigning to take Jaxson Dart. You cannot change that. You can't involve me in revisionist history. Be like, no, technically it's joint decision. No, Brian Daboll clearly pushed for him. Nobody thought everyone. There was rumors who could trade up into the first round to go get maybe Shedeur Sanders. No, the Giants traded into the first round to to draft Jaxson Dart. A complete Brian Daboll move.
I would say Dart has played better than Sanders has played.
I agree.
But Sanders is still kind of a small sample size. And he has, he's had 2 pretty good games. He had one game where he came in the first time he started, didn't start but relieved. What's the other guy's name? Dylan Gabriel.
He was terrible.
And he was terrible in that one. The next game he was pretty good.
The start wasn't bad.
And then the next
game.
one he threw. I think he was good in that game. Then he threw the 3 interception game, and then this game
wasn't bad
on Sunday. Wasn't bad, but he hasn't won a game.
Right, Dylan Gabriel.
He still hasn't won a game.
Able to win. Yeah, it was able to win. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, it's a situation. You got to find somebody. You can't lose this many games. Go back-to-back seasons where you're like top 5 in draft pick, or maybe it was 3 straight seasons when you're this bad. You had to find some answer, some reason, somebody to blame. You can't blame you. You can't fire yourself. You're not going to be John Mara and fire yourself.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I will add again. We have HBO Max Hard Knocks. John Mara telling Joe Shane, if Saquon Barkley goes to the Eagles, I don't know how I'll be able to sleep at night. What does Joe Shane do?
Let him go.
Not pay him $250,000 extra on his contract so he goes to the division rival and wins a Super Bowl with him in his first year. And breaks the all-time NFL record for rushing yards over the course of an entire season, including the playoffs.
Had 132 yards on Sunday.
First year. There's not even a bit of wiggle room. Not even a bit of breathing room. No, instant screw you.
No, he made a name for himself for his career in that game, in that season last year, and he'll be in the record books for it.
100%. And now we'll have to figure out what the Giants do moving forward, because the answer is you're going to have to find a quarterback. Or a head coach, excuse me. Head coach. And Joe Shane is going to, be the head of the spear on this search, supposedly. Are we sure he keeps his job? John Mara did say the jobs are separate. Even though they came in together, he's going to analyze them separately. Don't think that's a good idea whatsoever.
Mike McCarthy. That's my prediction.
Old coach? Interesting. A lot, my friends like John Gruden.
Oh, no way.
He's suing the NFL right now, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
He's not coming back. They wouldn't pick him. I think Mike McCarthy.
There's an OC out there.
He took a year off, and he's been sitting there waiting. And he has a very good record. He has a Super Bowl win. And I think with Aaron Rodgers, they won the Super Bowl. Sure. And he had the wins with Dallas, the 3 years with 12 wins, and didn't do well in the playoffs. But Dallas just doesn't do well in the playoffs. True. I don't know. They could do better. True. If the Giants could get to a point where they won 12 games and got to the playoffs and lost the playoff game, no one would be unhappy.
Well,
right?
remember,
if they could just get to the playoffs.
Right. Well, remember, they beat the Vikings the following year. When I started my top 10 list, I didn't have Daniel Jones in my top 10 quarterback list. Everybody was ripping on me. How could you not have Daniel Jones in your top 10 quarterback list?
He suffered.
15 touchdowns,
he suffered,
5 picks.
but the team did not have the players.
Joe Shane also didn't franchise tag Daniel Jones, paid him $160 million over 4 years just to bench him, 2 years later? Last 2 games, he's off the team. So, I don't know.
I feel bad for Daniel Jones. He's out there playing with a broken leg and wound up tearing his Achilles. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick 30-second break, but coming up, our weekly report. You do that. You headline every single game, every single week throughout the NFL season. So we'll do that right after this 30-second break.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Tuesday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic of today's show, our last topic of today's show, which is the weekly report, as I like to call it. It's where you give your headline or your takeaway for every single game on Sunday normally and Monday. We're just doing Sunday this time. Each week of the NFL, week 15, week 14. We've done it basically the entire year. Now it's week 16's turn. So take it away with the first matchup. We covered already Thursday's game on Friday's show. So let's begin with one of the games on Sunday, a Saturday game actually. Super Saturday on Fox, the first one, Eagles at Commanders. What is your headline and what is your takeaway from that game?
The Eagles win the NFC East by beating the Commanders. And my summary, despite playing crummy in the first half, the Eagles got going and won against a pitiful Commanders team that makes me laugh. They really do. Hurts and Barkley, they played well in the second half. Hurts, 22 of 30, 185 yards, 2 TDs, with 15 receptions by Smith and Brown together. Brown had 9 for 95, and Smith had 6 for 42 and a touchdown. That's good to see. I think they got their offense going, which they have to do. They have to play well down the stretch here if anyone's going to give them any chance to go deep into the playoffs. Barkley, the running game was good too. 21, 132 yards and a touchdown. Nothing going right for the Commanders, who are 4-11 with Mariota sidelined now with a concussion. Their season's over. It has been for quite a while now. The Eagles are the first NFC team to, if you can believe this, I was surprised by this stat. The Eagles are the first NFC East team to win back-to-back division titles since 2004.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. It says a lot about the competition in that division. What will they be able to do in the playoffs with their inconsistent offense? I think that's what everyone's thinking about now. These last 2 games don't mean that much for them. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. They've won their division, and now they're waiting to see who they play in the playoffs.
Well, I think that what we just saw is Saquon Barkley had a pretty good game against a terrible team. When you have to go Marcus Mariota, then Josh Johnson, who didn't play very well through a bad interception. This was just a feel-good game. I don't think this is a marker saying the Eagles are back. No, I don't think that whatsoever. I think the fact that, at one point the Commanders were up 10-7, that's a little bit concerning, saying that this team is actually not even really back. Jalen Hurts played all right, not great. Saquon Barkley had a couple great runs, broken tackle, had a couple big-time runs. But again, I don't think the running game's fixed. The offensive line's still banged up.
No, well, that's why they need to play well in these last 2 games, have the offense really do something to give them some confidence that they can do something in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I think Cooper DeJean's pick was beautiful as well. Yeah. Read the route well. For me, good for the Eagles. You broke the streak for over a decade at this point. Congratulations. But no, this was just a game where it's okay, good. The better team beat the worst team. So nothing much there. All right, let's go to the next one here. The next game, Super Saturday, with the Packers at the Bears. Take it away.
The hibernating Bears wake up against the Packers. The Bears couldn't do anything for 3 quarters. They were in deep hibernation. But they awoke in the 4th quarter and won in overtime to the fans' elation. What a game. This was a great game. And Brady was calling the game, so it was interesting to hear his analysis along the way. I just think it was a very exciting game. I'm sure the Packers are still wondering what happened after they were in control most of the way. Their win percentage at one point was 99%. Williams hit Moore with the beautiful 46-yard pass. It was laid right in there to win it in overtime. It's a 6th win they've had after trailing with less than 2 minutes left in a game, which is pretty amazing. They have a 1.5 game lead on the Packers for the division title right now. The Packers lost Jordan Love to concussion, but I thought Willis played very well, so I don't think that was the reason that the Packers lost. They have the 49ers on the road. The Bears do, and the Lions at home. So go Bears. I mean, last year, what a turnaround, huh?
Oh, yeah.
They only won 4 games last year. I predicted that, remember?
5 games.
5 games, right. And this year, with their new coach, Ben Johnson, I think he's the coach of the year in my mind. Look at them. They're leading the division. Their fans going nuts at that game.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were beat, and they found a way to come back and win. It says a lot about their team.
I'll say this. I thought this was the best game Brady and Burkhardt ever called. I thought that the emotion was great. The analysis was great late as well. I thought that this was a tremendously called game by Brady. I'll also say this. Caleb Williams under pressure in this game. He got pressured on 48% of his dropbacks. He was, the completion percentage isn't great, but 159 yards, 9.9 yards an attempt, 2 touchdowns, no picks. That was Caleb Williams under pressure. So he was able to execute at a very, very high level. But again, it's just the pure resilience. You get a field goal, then all of a sudden you recover an onside kick, and then you score a touchdown.
The onside kick recovery was amazing.
Yeah.
I think that LaFleur, he was like dumbfounded.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Because in today's NFL, you have to be losing in the 4th quarter and announce it. So there's no element of surprise anymore with the onside kick. I'll also say going all out blitz for the last touchdown in regulation where Caleb Williams kind of just rolled out and just flicked it over a defender wide open. Don't know if that was the call I would have done. All out blitz on the 6-yard line on 4th and 4. I don't think that was a great defense call. And then overtime, I thought Caleb Williams, that throw to DJ Moore, you can't throw it better than that. Perfect placement, perfect throw. DJ Moore, he was a little shaken after that because, my God, he fell down hard. But it was a great throw, great placement, and an even better catch. Defense able to step up for the Chicago Bears in overtime. And this was the first bet of the Harvey Hot Hand. We start off the week well at 1-0. So we ended up 4-1 thanks to the Houston Texans nearly losing to the Las Vegas Raiders. But yeah, let's get into the next one here. Let's start now with Sunday's games, which are the Jets at the Saints.
Shug leads Saints to 3rd straight win. Lately, the Jets specialize in getting blown out. Their defense is poor, and their offense has no clout. The Saints got 5 field goals from Smith, and it's only been with the team for 4 weeks. And he had 5 field goals in the game. I think he's tied a record for the Saints' number of field goals in a game. And there were 2 TD passes to Olave to blow out the hapless Jets. Taysom Hill, he's probably played his last home game with he's 35 years old now. He probably played his last home game for the Saints. He's the first player in NFL history to have 1,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards receiving, and 1,000 yards rushing for his career. And in this game, they actually showcased him. That's nice of Kellen Moore to do for him, knowing that he probably won't be back. He had 1 pass for 38 yards and a touchdown. He had 12 rushes for 42 yards and 4 receptions for 36 yards. So He had 116 yards in this game. I don't know. Why would you be getting rid of him? Tyler Shugg is looking like the real deal to me. 32 of 49, 308 yards and a touchdown. Another lost season for the Jets, I'm afraid. We mentioned this last week as well. How can they keep Aaron Glenn when the defense was so good under Salah or has imploded under Glenn? They still don't have an interception this year.
That is shocking.
It's just shocking. They were the only team in the NFL without an interception. And
by the way, they're the first team in NFL history to get this far without an interception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can that be?
Well, again, I talked about this last week. Is this just a bad Jets team, or is it just the Jets? Have they somehow redefined who they are, their identity, being the New York Jets?
No, their identity is losers.
Right, but what I'm saying is we know them to be bad. But not to have a single interception with a defensive head coach for an entire season, basically.
It's incredible.
They have 2 takeaways, I'm pretty sure, the entire year. I'll get the number up to be accurate here. The Jets this season, through 16 games, have 4 takeaways. They're all fumbles lost. Or as fumbles recovered, technically.
Yeah, one of them was a special teams recovery.
Against the Denver, it took them until week 6 to have their first takeaway, and it wasn't even on home soil. I think this is really, really bad. But hey, I'll give credit where credit's due. We can bash on the Jets because that's the easiest thing to do. Tyler Shuck.
I just don't know where they're going. Where with the Jets? They're
Nowhere.
just horrible.
Nowhere.
They're horrible.
Nowhere.
Do you think Aaron Glenn should keep his job?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I mean, he's only a first-year coach, so I
Yes.
guess it's pretty cruel to fire him. But, midway through next year, if they haven't won a game,
that's where you might fire
then you might fire him.
But we have to realize, they started out with their full roster.
That'll be yet another lost season.
Correct. But again, they've had lost seasons for the last decade. So that is not new territory. Actually, more than a decade, but that's not new territory.
Go back to Rex Ryan, because they've been terrible since Rex Ryan.
Their last playoff win was 2011 against the New England Patriots. So, yikes. But again, the Jets are bad. They're going to continue to be bad. But we have to realize that this is a process. You got to give. It's
been a process for like 25 years. Come on, we're tired of it.
Give them a little bit of wiggle room here, because Aaron Glenn, first-year coach, they blew up the roster mid-season. They got rid of their best pass rusher, their best cornerback, their wide receiver, who, by the way, has played 8 games, still is the leading receiver on the New York Jets. The next highest is Mason Taylor, their tight end. Breece Hall wants out. Justin Fields can't throw a football. Tyrod Taylor came in, looked good, but got banged up. They've started undrafted rookie free agent Brady Cook, who was terrible this year. But again, expectations, you expect them to be terrible. The Jets are just a terrible team. I think this is just...
I think the front office is definitely their problem.
1,000%.
I mean, given that they haven't had a quarterback in so long.
Joe Namath,
right?
Brett Favre before he got hurt.
Yeah, well,
Vinny Testaverde.
But he was only there 1 year.
Right, 1 year.
Vinny Testaverde was okay.
And then we have to remember, he went,
what's his name?
Ryan Fitzpatrick had one phenomenal year. I think it was Todd Bowles' first season with the Jets. Had a tremendous year. But, they haven't had a defined quarterback who was really the Jets quarterback.
No, but in this season, they should have brought in some old veteran to be there.
Tyrod Taylor.
Well, he always gets hurt.
True.
I mean, they should have had the third string. They should have had somebody that was they could have had Joe Flacco maybe. I don't know. But now they've got Brady Cook. And he's just horrible.
Yeah.
Just terrible. I don't know about the Jets. I think it's
I
pretty tough to
want
be a Jets fan.
I do want to bring some positivity. I think Tyler Shuck has won the New Orleans Saints starting quarterback job.
I do too.
I think he's played very, very good.
Oh yeah, he's going to be. They don't need to look for another quarterback. They
you might
build around him.
But I do think that he has shown some talent, because the last 3 games during this winning streak, over 68% completion percentage, 241.3 passing yards per game, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 7.2 yards an attempt, a passer rating of 91.4. So he's been able to play at a pretty high level on a team that's old, aging, and a lot of them might retire. And a lot who did retire before the year started. Remember, Derek Carr was supposed to be their starting quarterback, but he couldn't recover from his injury. He would have had surgery, miss another year, or miss most of the year, so he called it quits. I'll give a lot of credit where credit's due. The Saints, by the way, ruined the Bucs' chances, ruined the Panthers' chances, and now beat the Jets. They've done back-to-back screw yous to the NFC
Yeah,
South.
3 in a row they've won.
So, hey.
Who do they have left? Who do the Saints have left?
The Saints, after this game, after beating the Jets, they will now face at Tennessee.
Well, they should win that game.
And then at Falcons.
They'll probably win the last 2 games of the season.
Wow.
That's the end of the season 5-0.
Wow, that would be something. Right now, the Saints are favored on the road by 2.5. It opened at 1.5. Now it's moved 1 point in favor of the the New Orleans Saints. I might take the Titans again. I don't know. The Saints are on a heater, but they are playing better. I don't know. We'll see. Well, we'll make our picks on Friday. All right, let's go to the next one. Another Sunday game. Bills at Browns. 10.5 point spread for the Buffalo Bills, by the way.
The Bills ground and pound beats the Browns. The Bills, James Cook, and ground and pound was too much for the Browns. Cook had 16 carries, 117 yards, and 2 touchdowns. His ninth 100-yard rushing game this year for Cook. His 1,532 yards leads the NFL right now. Josh Allen said he's the reason that we're doing as well as we are. That's humility on Allen's part. Who was only 12 of 19 for 130 yards. He was just a game manager in this game. The Bills have won 4 straight, 5 out of 6, and backed into the playoffs when the Colts lost to the 49ers, so they're a playoff team now. Sanders had a pretty good game, as we mentioned earlier. 20 of 29, 157 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Unfortunately, accounted for 10 of the Buffalo's points. He also rushed 4 times for 49 yards and was the leading rusher. Judkins, unfortunately, dislocated his ankle and broke his fibula, so he's gone for the season. I wonder how he'll recover from that. That's a pretty bad injury. Garrett had a half a sack in this game, so he's 1 from the record with 2 games to go.
Yeah, my prediction, a bit off. I was, about 8 sacks away, I think, from what I thought he'd do at the time.
You said he'd have 30.
Hey, I mean, he looked like he was.
He's falling apart here. What happened to him?
He had like 17.5 through, 13 games? Isn't it 14 games? So it was reasonable to be like, hey, maybe he could continue this just pure dominant streak and just blow out the record.
He's had games where he got 4 sacks.
Yeah. Against the Patriots, he had, 4 or 5, I think, as well. He just obliterated the Patriots' offensive line. But I will say, no, again, people are complaining about the Browns. Again, we have to realize, yes, it's exciting. You have a quarterback who has personality, who doesn't care that he's from – it's like Baker Mayfield 2.0, where he has the swagger. He has all of that. But we have to realize, who does he play for? The Cleveland Browns. They have a quarterback who tore his Achilles twice in one single calendar year, who, by the way, you still have to pay guaranteed money to next year, who may be the starting quarterback because you can't really get off of him, who the owner blasted publicly, who started Dylan Gabriel, who the fan base is turning on the head coach because they think they're sabotaging their precious Colt quarterback. We have to realize you play for the Cleveland Browns. You root for a team who's terrible, who, by the way, fact-checked it, the worst team in the 21st century. Since 2000, take a wild guess. Just throw a number out there. Throw a percentage out there if you want.
Oh,
Cleveland Browns.
Winning percentage?
Yeah, Cleveland Browns. Since 2000.
35%.
34%.
Pretty close.
34% of the games they've won, which, by the way, is 0.049 percentage points lower than the next highest team, which is the Las Vegas Raiders. So they are really bad. They have 21 fewer wins than the next highest team. They are a garbage team. With the rest, you play for the Cleveland Browns. You root for the Cleveland Browns. It's not Kevin Stefanski sabotaging anything. You play for a bad team. Buffalo Bills, this is a big disappointment for me. 10.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I know.
You just came back 21-0 against the New England Patriots.
I
and
think
you
they
somehow almost lose.
They probably could. I'm not sure why Allen only threw the ball 19 times. That has something to do with it, right? Seems like it.
I mean, I genuinely just think could it be a look-ahead game? They play the Eagles next. It's a big-time game for them. They're still vying for the number 1 seed technically, and also the division as well. No, I just think that this is a game that was just really, really weird. The Bills came out, relatively on fire, but somehow the Browns are able to keep it close and actually had a couple opportunities to win the game. Late sack, ended the game for the Browns, but no. I just think that in reality, the Bills should have blown out the Browns because the Browns defense also has been a little bit shaky. Shador was the leading passer, obviously, and also the leading rusher. It's the Cleveland Browns. You're a bad team. I made a prediction. If you go back in the show I went all the way back. They're over under Vegas set at 4.5. I took the under. By the way, that wasn't the betting favorite to take the under on 4.5 wins. Because it's very difficult to be that bad that consistently. The Browns do it, though. So I may nail that pick just through and through. Buffalo, good win, not great win.
I think coaching is a big part of the Browns' problem because they have a good defense. You should be able to do better than a couple of wins.
Well, either way, the offense has nobody.
No, but you should be able to somehow have a game management strategy and just run the ball a lot. And with that defense, find a way to eke out more than a couple of wins.
Well, they actually ran the ball pretty effectively. 5.2 yards a carry on 31 rushes. Not bad. It's just that, you're a bad team. You can't do that consistently.
Yeah, well, they lost by 3.
Yeah.
So, coaching plays a role in that, I think, in a game that close.
Very fair. Let's go to the next one here. Another Sunday game. Chiefs at Titans. What a barn burner this was.
Titans win first home game in over a year.
When you wrote that, I was surprised. I didn't even know that.
The Chiefs 9, the Titans 26. Without Mahomes, the Chiefs didn't show up in an embarrassing loss to the Titans. How bad they are without Mahomes is frightening. Minshew knocked out with a knee injury on early in the second quarter. It was the Titans' first home victory in more than a year. It goes back to a year ago, October was their last win at home. That's tough on the fans who pay to go to these games, particularly season ticket holders, huh? To sit in the stands for over a year and not have a win. That's pretty bad. The Chiefs will have their first losing season since 2012, which is very surprising. And Ward, he had a passer rating of 122 in this game, so he's playing better for sure. Pollard had 102 yards rushing in his third straight game with 100-plus yards, so the Titans have found a way to get their running game going. The Chiefs quarterback is now Oladokun. I can't even pronounce that name. He was 11 of 16, 111 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Once again, the Chiefs have no running game. Pacheco, 8 carries for 34 yards. Ward was 21 of 28, 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. So things looking up maybe a little bit for the Titans. And they play the Saints this weekend. That should be a pretty close game, I would think.
Yeah, and then this was my upset of the week. I just think that you're starting Gardner Minshew at the time. I didn't know, obviously, Gardner Minshew would get hurt, but this Chiefs team's defeated. You have Travis Kelce probably going retirement. He looked really upset, leaving the stadium this past week, so I think he's done. This team is so banged up. I didn't even know until I made the pick. The injury report came out. Offensive line, gone. Defensive backs, gone. Linebackers, gone. Everybody was so banged up for this game. I thought it was a great pick for me. I did get the upset down. This game, again, was a little bit close. Then the Titans late in the game pulled away, especially with the fact that Gardner Minshew went down. Again, the Chiefs are done for this year. They're not a good team. They have to figure stuff out in the offseason. The Titans, this was a good win. You could say you beat the team that just went to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
Don't add context. This just goes. Look. No one will. Here's the thing. We'll look back and see the Titans beat the Chiefs in 2025. Yeah. Unless you click box score, you can feel good about it.
The context would be they had a quarterback in there no one ever heard of and couldn't pronounce his name.
Well, yeah, but again, you could go back and just look at it. Okay, oh my God, the Titans beat the Chiefs. Just don't hit box score. That's all you got to do to feel good about it. If you do, then all that good feeling goes a little bit away because all the context is gone. But yeah, no, it was a good win. The first home win in over a year. I didn't even realize that. Good find by you. They ever run the ball? Tony Pollard. Again, where was this early in the year where they could have used it, not Cam Ward, turning the ball over a bunch? Again, Cam Ward, no interceptions. He's done a very good job the last month and a half, 2 months at really reducing the interceptions because when he started the year, he tried to throw it and the ball would go the opposite way. Yeah. So he's fixed that up a little bit. Again, you have no head coach. You really don't have any skill positions around you. You're making do. The offensive line doesn't exist. The defense is really disappointing. So the Titans have a lot to work on. Plus, you need a head coach as well.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get a good draft.
I would assume so. Let's go to the next one. Another Sunday game. The Chargers at the Cowboys upset. Chargers get the big-time upset win over the
Herbert
Cowboys.
Keeps Chargers rolling with win. Playing great with a broken hand, Justin Herbert showed that he's an Iron Man, which is good for the Chargers because without him, they wouldn't have a plan. He's their team, man. That guy is a horse, and he is leading by example. I mean, how could you not be motivated playing on the team with him? The guy who and most other players would be on the sideline saying, my hand's broken, I can't play. He's right out there. He actually had a rushing touchdown in this game. You don't think he's trying to protect his hand? He's just out there playing, man. He's 23 of 29, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hampton's back now. He had 16 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. And Johnston, the guy that couldn't catch a ball in prior years, had 4 catches for 104 yards and a touchdown. With the win, they have a chance to win the division. And if they can beat the Broncos on the last game of the season, they might wind up with the 1 seed in the AFC. So the Chargers really have come on here, and they backed into a playoff berth with the Colts loss. So the Cowboys, on the other hand, they've been eliminated. They're eliminated from the playoffs. Prescott 21 of 30, 244 yards, 2 TDs. Williams 9 carries, 34 yards, no running game at all. Pickens 7 receptions, 130 yards and a touchdown, and Lamb 6 for 51. So the Cowboys have a good passing game, and that's about it.
Well, yeah, and I also think that we have to realize this was a Cowboys team that, again, the secondary really, really is bad. They got to figure something out, whether it's you fire the DC, Matt Eberflus, who, by the way,
Matt Eberflus should be gone.
Nobody knows how the hell he still has a job, because
he should be out of there.
One of the things that Bears fans ripped on him for was how good their defense was on paper and how they used to be the number 1 defense at the second half of the year, and then last year they were terrible. They couldn't do really much of anything. So you got him fired, and then the Cowboys signed him after the weird signing of Brian Schottenheimer, who wasn't a bad signing now. In retrospect, not a terrible signing. Dak's played pretty damn well. And then the defense is terrible.
Defense. That's been their
The
problem.
defense has been really, really bad.
Yeah.
I'll also say this. Like you said, Quentin Johnson couldn't catch a cold. He was dropping everything. He has only 2 drops the entire year, and they came in one singular game against the Colts. Otherwise, he doesn't have a single drop besides one game.
Yeah, I think they're a Super Bowl contender.
Absolutely.
Chargers.
The defense has been incredible. Justin Herbert, like you've mentioned, he's an iron man. He's playing with a broken hand, for God's sakes. He threw 300 yards.
He's the most pummeled quarterback in the league this year because their offensive line has been a sieve.
They're on 4th string.
I mean, generally, with an offensive line as bad as this, a team is just not competitive at all. It'd be in the bottom 5 teams of the league. But these guys, they could be the number 1 seed in the AFC.
And we have to realize also, you would have confidence running the football. They ran it 33 times for over 150 yards. They're still willing to run the football behind an offensive line that nobody actually wants, because they're a bunch of 3rd and 4th string guys.
Yeah.
So a lot of credit where credit's due. Jim Harbaugh, again, this is just another coaching, virtuoso from him. Justin Herbert's playing out of his mind this year. But again, playoffs. That's why there's a term called chargering. Wait until the playoffs come. There's a lot of these teams where it's like, wait till the playoffs. Seahawks, wait till the playoffs. Wait till Sam Darnold gets in the big stage again. Justin Herbert, wait till the Chargers get in the playoffs. It's great what you're doing now. Hopefully bring that over. So Dallas Cowboys, by the way, eliminated after this game. Not a good season. Jerry Jones, not very happy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one here, which is the Vikings at the Giants.
Yeah. McCarthy goes down yet again. Brosner leads Vikings to victory. My takeaway here, McCarthy hurt yet again, had to leave in the first half, but the Giants were unable to beat Max Brosner, which was a serious gaffe. I don't know how they lost to him. I mean, his first start, he threw 4 interceptions. He was horrible. The Vikings won their 3rd straight. The Giants look they'll be the winner of the first pick in the draft. That's what they have to show for their season. They're the big winner of the first pick in the draft. The Vikings plane had mechanical difficulty to go to this game, and they had to fly back to Minnesota and get on a second plane to come out. That had to be a little unnerving, right? Be on a plane that you're worried it might crash. So McCarthy is, in my mind, he's injury prone and may not be able to play again this season. He had a meniscus tear that kept him out all of last year. He had a concussion this year, a sprained knee, and now he has a hand injury. Brosnan was 7 of 9 for 52 yards. He kept him in there and kept the lead, and that helped us because we got the point spread win on this one. The Giants lost their 9th straight. Dart, I don't know how this could be. 7 of 13, 33 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times. Tracy had 16 carries for 71 yards, and Robinson 3 catches for 19 yards. Just total mismanagement, a total game plan disaster for the offense on the Giants. Put that on Mike Kafka.
I'll also say Darius Slayton had 2 targets, 1 catch, 8 yards. One of them, it was a bad drop. But he's had issues basically his entire time with the New York Giants having drop issues. I mean, you could look at this. Yes, Mike Kafka has been a horrible head coach.
Horrible.
I mean, he's been
just
really
horrible.
Bad. I mean, I've showed the numbers again. I can't bring them up because it would bring down this entire graphic, but I'll just read them to you. Jaxson Dart under Mike Kafka is 0-3, 60.3% completion percentage, 169.3 total yards per game, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's total, by the way. 3 touchdowns, 2 turnovers, excuse me. Both of those are total. Passer ratings a 78.5. EPA per dropback, a minus 0.34. And also, team averages 16.3 points per game since Mike Kafka has become the head coach with Jaxson Dart at the starting quarterback. He's changed the way he's played, whether it's saving him, whether it's, hindering his swagger, I guess you'd say, running the ball, extending plays. You're becoming a really bad football team.
Yeah, well, they had a game that they had in the bag against the Chargers. They could have beaten the Chargers. Was it the Chargers?
They did beat the Chargers.
No, but who was the other team that they were? It was Lions.
The Lions.
They could have beat the Lions. All they had to do was kick a field goal. They would have been up by 6 with a little tiny bit of time left in the game, and they didn't. They went for it on 4th down, didn't make it. They're up by 3. Lions go right down the field, kick a field goal, and put it in overtime, and then win it in overtime.
That was Jameis Winston's second start.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston nearly beat the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, and it was the defense that cost them each time. So I don't know what to do. The defense needs. You look. First of all, the secondary is terrible. You benched Dante Banks. You're gonna get rid of him. He was the guy that the Giants kind of had to draft because Quinton Johnston, Jackson Smith, and Jigba and Zay Flowers basically all went back to back to back to each of their respective teams, where the Giants desperately needed a wide receiver. So my guess would be, I'm not in the draft room. Maybe somebody out there could tell me if there's any video of this. My guess it was best man available. Because obviously you're going receiver. It just so happens Johnston off the board, Zay Flowers off the board, JSN off the board. So you were kind of stuck. So you had to do best man available. It just so happens to be one of the worst defensive backs in the NFL. Yeah. And you replaced him with Corey Black, who's given up a perfect passer rating when he's targeted. So it's not really a good replacement either way. So I don't know. Giants are terrible. All right, let's go to another game here. The Bucs at the Panthers.
Mayfield's late interception dooms the Bucs. What's wrong with Baker Mayfield is my question. He threw an interception when he could have just kneeled. Mayfield throws another late interception for a second week in a row that effectively ruined the Bucs' chances to win both games. In this one, they were in field goal range to tie the game at the end. He could have just kneeled, run the clock down, and kicked the field goal to go to overtime. The Panthers are now in first place in the NFC South. The Bucs have to beat the Dolphins and the Panthers to win the division now. The Bucs have lost 3 in a row. Mayfield, what's wrong with Baker Mayfield?
We've praised a lot of these guys, and you give it like 3 weeks, all of a sudden they become terrible. We bang on Bryce Young. He throws for 440 yards. We bang on the Panthers. They could win the division and make the playoffs with Bryce Young at quarterback. We praise Baker Mayfield. He looks terrible. We call him a franchise quarterback.
He was great at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
He brought him back.
He had, what, 5 or 6 game-winning drives? Something like that?
They were super.
And now he can't figure anything out.
Now he can't figure anything out. Since they're bye, they just lose. Yeah,
no, it's really bad. The defense isn't great. They
don't deserve to be in the playoffs now, I don't think. But they have a chance. They still have a chance. They got to win the last 2.
And one of them is against this team.
Yeah, that's right. Last game of the season. Last game of the season. It'll be very interesting. I'll be watching that game.
Do you take the Panthers in Week 18?
I don't know. The Panthers, you can't count. You can't trust them either.
Because they should have beaten the Saints and lost.
They should have beat the Saints and lost.
Hell, this team should have.
The
Bucs should have beaten the Saints.
If they'd beaten the Saints,
they would have clinched the playoffs.
They would have
won
clinched
the division.
Yeah. So
Also, the Bucs should have beaten the Saints too.
Yeah. They were playing at home, so you'll see. The Bucs will be at home. I don't know. I feel bad for Todd Bowles. His team's just falling apart like this.
People are now saying that if the Bucs miss the playoffs, Bowles should be fired.
I don't know. He made the playoffs every year. He's been the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's post Brady. You could have had a Patriots downfall post Brady.
Yeah.
Instead, you got Baker Mayfield, you made the playoffs,
Yeah.
and you actually, if we remember, that close to beating the Lions. If Baker Mayfield leads a game-winning drive, you beat the Lions, you're in the NFC
Baker Mayfield needs to
game.
pick it up these last 2 weeks. So we're going to think, hey, you know what? Maybe he really is not the real deal. You said he would never start again in the NFL at one point, right?
I did.
And then he came back. He's been great. Now he's falling apart again. I don't know.
He got released by the Panthers. I had some precedent there. When you get released by the Panthers with Matt Rule as a head coach, I had some reason to believe that. Let's go to the next one here. Bengals at Dolphins. Where the hell was this
Burrow
Bengals?
throws 4 TDs en route of Dolphins. Burrow played great, but it's a little too late. And now it's next year. The Bengals Super Bowl pipe dream will have to wait. So, it's a lost season for the Bengals. Burrow, great game, 25 of 32, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. Burrow said he was having fun again. That's wonderful. But this is a garbage game. It meant nothing, really. Brown, 12 carries, 66 yards, a touchdown. Chase had 9 receptions, 109 yards. He's actually had a pretty good season, Chase, right? With nobody really throwing him the ball, but I think in receptions-wise, he's right up there among the leaders. Higgins had 3 for 53. Quinn Ewers, his first start in the NFL, 20 of 30, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. A chain, 15 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. Waddle had 5 receptions for 72. Burrow said he was having fun. That's important when you're making $55 million a year. Ewers led 2 scoring drives. He was 10 of 12 in the first half, looking good. But then he threw the 2 interceptions in the second half, and the Bengals never looked back. 45 points. So both teams just playing out the string now.
I find it very interesting that, there was all this, Quinn Ewers starting, Tua. By the way, I didn't even realize Tua actually became the emergency quarterback 3.
Yeah.
He got demoted all the way below even Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So that's a really bad look for Tua, but I actually kind of agree with you in the sense of he actually looked pretty good up until, the London Bridge came crumbling down, essentially. And Burrow and the Bengals, where was this offense last week? Where you were up against the Baltimore Ravens.
I think happened?
Playoff hopes were still alive.
I think happened? Burrow had that press conference, right, where he was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. This is never fun for me. I'm just rehabbing in the locker room all the time. I'm hurt all the time. I don't know if I can keep doing this. I think he brought himself down so far that he
saying depressed the team?
He depressed the team and himself, and then went out and laid an egg. It was terrible. And they were still in it. They still had an inkling of a chance to make the playoffs. And they would have won this game.
Yep.
We'd still be talking about him. But he talked himself into a loss in that one, I think.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that. Did Joe Burrow depress the team so much they're like, season's over.
It's over.
Ravens.
They got crushed in that game.
They got shut out.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase got shut out. That's bad. No, in this one, though, you beat a bad team.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are a terrible team.
The Dolphins have mailed it in. They're starting Ewers right now. They didn't expect
and
to
by
win
the way,
this.
he's probably going to start the rest of the year as well.
Why not?
That really raises the question, what the hell are you going to do with Tua? If you bench the guy...
We talked a lot about that in the last show.
You're benching the guy who's making $50 million a year. And you're benching him for a late-round rookie. Something has to happen in the offseason.
I think they're going to try to unload it.
I'm really excited for this offseason.
You saw this happen with Russell Wilson.
Yep.
You saw it happen with Derek Carr.
Yeah, I was going to say Derek Carr. Daniel Jones.
It's a model. You saw it happen with Daniel Jones. Now it's happening with Tua. He's going to be gone.
And I'm still calling it of soft benching. You also just saw it with Kyler Murray.
You saw it with Justin Fields, in a way, right?
Yeah.
In a way.
He played all right. Russ came in. Yeah. Kyler Murray, I still think all this... When he gets hurt, it's a 4 to 6 week recovery period. At the end of 6 weeks, we're like, still got another 6 weeks to go. No, you don't. Jacoby Brissett
Yeah,
just played better, and you're going to try to figure
They'll
this
probably
out.
try to get off him, too.
I would probably agree with that. But no, I thought, where is this offense when you need it? Your playoff hopes are still alive. It's a good win. Great. It helped my fantasy team out with Jamar Chase. I won this week, although it doesn't really matter. I'm playing for, I think, 6th place. But yeah, no. We're on to next season already. My question is, what are they going to do with Zach Taylor? That's still my big question here. This team is question marks of head coaches, and the Dolphins have a question at quarterback. Let's go to the next one here. This is a stunner. Jaguars at Broncos.
Jags and Broncos 11-game winning streak. When Trevor Lawrence throws 3 TDs, I have no gripe. Could the $55 million a year quarterback finally be living up to the hype? Lawrence, 23 of 36, 279 yards, 3 TDs. He got sacked 5 times, so the Broncos defense wasn't totally missing in this game. He wasn't very accurate either. But, he did live up to the hype in this game. ATN 16 carries, 50 yards. Lawrence had 6 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown. And Washington, the receiver, had six receptions, 145 yards and a touchdown. I was surprised the Jags scored 34 points against the Broncos defense, ending their 11-game winning streak. The Jags have outscored opponents 171-72 in the last 5 games and have won 6 straight. I think that Liam Cohen's offense, they're starting to really click in that offense. And Trevor Lawrence maybe finally has learned it enough so that he can be very productive in it. Denver should beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day, then likely to play the Chargers for the division championship on the last game of the season and maybe the first seed in the AFC. Peyton said we need to get on to the next challenge. Knicks, he threw an interception that was a couple interceptions, very costly. He was 28 of 47, 352 yards. So he had a lot of yards, but made some mistakes. He had 1 touchdown pass. Harvey, our namesake, there's 7 carries for 50 yards and 4 receptions for 71. Sutton had 6 receptions, 86 yards and a touchdown. So I was surprised the Broncos lost this game. It might be a good thing in a way. They get that off their back, the winning streak, and now they just focus on the last 2 games and getting ready for the playoffs.
Well, I think what's fascinating is that this game definitely had a moment where this shifted, and that came in the third quarter, because in the third quarter, these were the splits between the 2 quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, 9 of 10 for 146 yards and a touchdown, just in the third quarter. Bo Nix, 6 of 9, 45 yards, no touchdowns, fumble lost. So they were basically going head-to-head the first 2 quarters, and then the third quarter, Trevor Lawrence absolutely exploded, and Bo Nix couldn't keep up. He ended with, 352 yards Bo Nix did, and only 1 sack compared to the 5 sacks Trevor Lawrence took, and only 279 yards. But Trevor Lawrence, again, the combined rushing and passing touchdowns, 6 the week before, now he has 4 total touchdowns. I mean, he's lived, like you said in your takeaway. He's starting to live up to that massive price tag.
Yeah, and now he's learned the offense, because Cohen is supposedly an offensive
guru. Again, jury's still out because the beginning of the season didn't look great. But the last month and a half, Trevor Lawrence has been incredible.
Yeah.
It's just, again, wait till the playoffs.
We'll see.
It's a good win streak right now. You're still in the number 1 seed. You're still vying for.
Yeah.
This is a huge win. We're about the playoffs right now, I'd say. All right, let's go to the next one here. Falcons and Cardinals, again, another barn burner.
Falcons win 2nd straight with Kirk Cousins at quarterback. The Falcons win makes you wonder what they could have done if Cousins was the starting quarterback all season. It's a good question for Raheem Morris. I'd like to hear his reason. Cousins, 21 of 35, 197 yards, 2 TDs and an interception. This is what the Falcons were supposed to look like this season. Bijan Robinson, 16 rushes, 76 yards, and 7 receptions for 92 yards. This is what they were supposed to look like. The reason they didn't? Quarterback play. They have a roster with talent that Kirk Cousins is helping them realize. He should have been the starter all year, in my mind. They've won 3 out of 5 lately. Robinson passed 2,000 yards from scrimmage for the season. He's only the 3rd player in Falcons history to do that. The Cardinals are a mess, and I think Gannon likely to be fired. the former Patriots kicker there was so horrible for them.
Chad Ryland.
Yeah, right. He missed 2 field goals this game. 50 and 40.
And by the way, I might add, the Cardinals did sign Rams kicker Joshua Carty today. The guy who got benched earlier this year, who got that kick blocked in return for a touchdown to make them lose against the Eagles.
The Rams signed him?
No, the Cardinals.
The Cardinals. They fired Ryland?
No, I don't know if they fired him, but they signed him to their team today. I think it's to the practice squad. I will say, you are kind of right. Kyle Pitts with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He just did something only Shannon Sharp, the last tight end to do it, against the Buccaneers. Shannon Sharp was the last one to put up a stat line like that where he had like 150 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. So it kind of works. Kyle Pitts, again, we don't know. But a report came out today, which again, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, a couple months down the line. Report, Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray unlikely to generate large trade market. Shocking.
No, yeah, I'm not too shocked about that.
When's the last time we thought, Kyler Murray, that's a good quarterback? No. Injuries, ACL against the Patriots. Now he's dealing with this foot issue that became, a 12-week thing all of a sudden now? I don't even know.
They
He's
just
out
take
there.
him out. He could be playing.
I mean, we have to realize that his contract runs through 2028. So the Cardinals need to figure out something. Because I don't see him coming back and being like, we have by the way, Jonathan Gannon might not even be there.
He won't be.
But it's just about, we have full confidence in a guy who stopped one of his primary assets of running the football in a high level in a I think it was in a playoff game against the Los Angeles Rams. He's like, I'm not running anymore. What? You play quarterback. One of your biggest traits is mobility. And all of a sudden, just because you don't want to get hit, you're going to stop running the ball? I mean, it's a collision sport. You got to kind of run. We have Phillip Rivers out here moving about a foot an hour in the pocket. This guy can't move. He's 44 years old, and he's still standing there. You actually have legs. You have mobility.
Is he 44?
He's 44. Phillip Rivers, yeah.
Oh, Phillip Rivers,
Not
yeah.
Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's, 28, I think? I don't know. But yeah, no, you got to use your mobility. You can't Kirk Cousins, he doesn't have any mobility, and he's still out there doing really, really well. So, and again, the reason is there is no reason. We talked about this to start the season. As soon as the year flipped and, Michael Penix started those last, 3 games last year, they came out and said, Michael Penix is our starter. And we're like, you just gave him $100 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
What do you
I'm
mean
sure the Falcons, looking back, and they won't say this, but I'm sure Arthur Blank's thinking, how come I was talked out of hiring Bill Belichick?
Oh, my God.
Why was I talked out of hiring Bill Belichick? Why was that? It's because the front office guys didn't want to cede any power to Bill Belichick. They'd be better off with him. They'd be a lot better off with him than Raheem Morris. They wouldn't have drafted Michael Penix, number one, and Kirk Cousins would have started all these games. And I guarantee you they'd be in a lot better shape. They'd be fighting for a playoff spot right now.
Hot take. That's a fire take, considering Bill Belichick just fired his entire staff.
Bill Belichick made a huge mistake going to North Carolina. He should have sat and been a little more patient. He'd be the Giants head coach next year.
Which, by the way, Josina Anderson reported that the Browns front office may make a call.
To Belichick?
He's still liked amongst the Browns organization.
Well, Belichick's not going to leave North Carolina now because he's embarrassed. He's got to try to resurrect that program, and by that time he does that, he'll be too old to be a head coach in the NFL.
All right, let's go with another one here. Here we go. Raiders at Texans.
Texans win 7th straight, beating Raiders. Texans won their 7th straight, but the Raiders gave them a scare. However, Vegas's 2-13 record makes their fans boo and swear.
True.
Yeah. Stroud threw for a TD pass. Stingley had a pick 6. Gente finally showed up, and the Raiders' running game was effective, and that's what I think that was a big reason why they were in this game and had a chance to win it. But the Raiders lost their 9th straight game, and Pete Carroll said this game was about how hard we would play and demonstrate how much we love the game. I thought that's what we showed.
So moral victory.
Yeah, moral victory.
There are no moral victories in the NFL.
Yeah. I don't know, Stroud, 23 of 35, 187 yards on a touchdown. I guess it was an okay game for him.
He had a 72
But to be that close against the Raiders.
14.5-point favorites.
Yeah, and they won by 2.
Yeah, they won by 2.
Yeah.
This was an ugly game. The defense was getting cooked pretty nicely. Geno Smith and Brock Bowers, they had a couple good plays amongst the two of them. Ashton Genty, leading receiver and also leading rusher, obviously. No, this is, again, if moral victories existed for, because that's bad teams. They don't put up W's in the win or loss column. They put up W's in their heads. Moral victories. You feel good. You lost, but it feels good. That's what bad teams do.
How feel good will it feel when you get fired?
Well, that's when you realize that moral victories don't exist. You feel good in the moment. We nearly beat the number one defense in the NFL. Yeah. Pete Carroll's 73 years old, and his team that, by the way, you hired the most expensive offensive coordinator who didn't even make it to the end of the season. You have Tom Brady as a minority owner who, tried to make a bunch of moves, and clearly they haven't done so well. You hire Pete Carroll, Super Bowl winning head coach, who was, was he doing something in college, I think it was.
He was at USC doing something.
Yeah, he was some sort of scout or something like that, upper management.
Advisor.
Yeah, advisor. You come to the NFL, you have a lot of hype around you. You bring in a quarterback who a lot of people thought would be more stable than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. He can't stop throwing interceptions. He's been a terrible quarterback. And you currently sit with a position this week to claim the number one overall pick in the draft. If you somehow lose to the New York Giants, who currently have the number one pick, you have an opportunity.
They should tag for it.
I don't think they need to try. They're already doing it just by trying their best, getting those moral victories.
Well, they may have to try to lose to the Giants.
It won't be that difficult. The Giants are not a good team, especially with Kafka playing Jaxson Dart like he's a 50-year-old quarterback. Don't run. Don't do anything. Don't even throw the ball. Just hand it off a bunch. No, I think this is bad. The Texans, if we're talking moral wins and losses, this is a big-time moral loss.
You think the Texans can catch the Jaguars?
Not with the way the Jaguars are playing now. Although I will say Davis Mills did beat the Jaguars. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how this division wraps up, because the Colts are done.
Who do the Texans have left?
The Texans, after this game beating the Las Vegas Raiders, they go up against this week at Chargers.
Oh,
I think it's 2.5-point underdogs.
And the last game will be
versus the Colts.
And then the Jaguars have
the Jaguars.
Seattle, I think.
Do they play Seattle? Ooh.
I think so.
No. At Colts versus Titans.
Oh, so they have
played Seattle earlier.
They
in
have
the
a much easier schedule, so they'll probably win the division.
Probably. But no, this is a moral loss if I'm the Texans.
Okay.
You were 14.5-point favorites and you won by 2. And Geno Smith was actually up, a decent portion of this game. So not a great look. And finally, wait, two more. Here we go. Next
Pittsburgh survives wild finish, helped by Lions penalties. The Steelers win and the Lions fall, largely because they couldn't run the ball. I think it was Montgomery had 4 carries for 14 yards and Gibbs 7 carries for 2 yards. Although Gibbs was 10 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown. So Jared Goff was fabulous in this game. 34 of 54, 364 yards and 3 touchdowns. And how they lost this game is beyond me. It was a wild finish with the Lions go-ahead TDs. They had 2. They went ahead twice in the last seconds. They were negated by penalties with less than 30 seconds left on both of them. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Lions had no running game to complement Goff's great passing performance. The defense couldn't stop the Steelers in the second half, which was unacceptable, really. I mean, when the Steelers, they don't have that great a running game. And here you have Warren had 14 carries for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's why they lost, basically. The Steelers have won 3 straight, and a 9-6 will have the 19th winning season for Tomlin. It's pretty amazing. Every season he's had a winning record. Looks like they will win the division now. I think that Lamar Jackson's hurt for the Ravens, and I think it's a pretty bad injury. That's what I was hearing, that he's hurt his back somehow.
He did not practice that.
Yeah. Lions need to win their last 2, and the Packers lose their last 2 to get into the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I think, the penalties were absolutely terrible. 7 penalties. You didn't even win, or you actually won the penalty battle. Steelers had 8, you had 7. It's just the timing of them. OPI, same drive on 2 touchdowns, one of which
Amon-Ra St. Brown, they didn't blow it dead because it created one of the, if there was an OPI, it would have created easily the best win that they've had all year. Amon-Ra gets the ball, flips it to Jared Goff, who has the wits of him to dive in the end zone. And even though
that was a fantastic
I forget
play.
who the referee was, but he said touchdown. However, offensive pass interference.
Right.
So,
and I think it was offensive pass interference.
Oh, yeah, no,
right?
he pushed him.
Went right up there and pushed him.
He pushed him off. Yeah.
And then the other one was a pick play.
Yeah, pick play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, again, with Dan Campbell calling plays, the Lions have the best passing offense in the NFL. Their defense, though, is so banged up. Can't deal with it. I mean, think about it. Jalen Warren had a tremendous game in this one. They had, 3 45-yard rushing touchdowns or something like that?
I don't know what happened to the Lions running game. I guess they just didn't bother to run it.
Yeah. No.
54 pass attempts.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, the offense, the passing offense of the Lions is what's working a lot. Now, the running offense we've seen in games. Think about against the New York Giants. Jahmyr Gibbs had a tremendous day. I think there are games like that, but in reality, the number one staple for the Detroit Lions this year is Dan Campbell's passing offense. Number one in the league since he started calling plays over John Morton.
Yeah.
So this is an ugly loss for the Lions. They're basically done. They have to somehow. You have to have the Packers lose out. You win out.
The Packers are going to lose out.
I agree with that. All right, and finally.
Oh no, not finally. We have the 49ers.
Oh,
right?
I didn't do that one.
Okay, well, I'll say what I have to say on that one. In a game that Brock Purdy looked sharp, the Colts defense basically fell apart. And Purdy, 25 of 34, 295 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. McCaffrey, 21 for 117 yards. That guy is amazing. Didn't even play last year because he had all kinds of problems with his legs. He's been a workhorse this year. If he can hold up and Purdy keeps playing like this, hey, who knows? Maybe the 49ers will be the number 1 seed in the NFC. We'll have to wait and see. George Kittle had 7 catches for 115 yards. The 49ers offense revving up, I think, just at the right time for the playoffs. Shanahan, he said Brock Purdy was awesome in this game. They've won 5 straight now. They have a shot at the number 1 seed. Their defense, even though they lost Warner and Bosa, Robert Sala's adjusted for that. Their defense is fine. They did anything they wanted against the Colts defense. It was terrible. Rivers played well, I thought. He didn't make it easy for the 49ers. He was 25 of 35, 2 TDs and an interception. But Indy's lost 5 straight and 6 out of 7.
Again, expectations. What are you going to do with a 44-year-old quarterback who, by the way, Phillip Rivers looked significantly better this week than he did against the Seahawks. Again, he was there for 3-4 days?
Yards passing.
No, I mean, that really was the story. Brock Purdy, 5 touchdowns, fine. Against a Colts team that we've known is falling apart since they played the Chiefs. So to me, Brock Purdy doing well, 49ers doing well against a team that's falling apart. To me, that's not the story. The story is a 44-year-old quarterback just played pretty damn well against a Robert Saleh-led defense.
They're not out of it yet, but
they're like, we're talking single-digit percentages. They need a bunch of stuff to happen, which flat out isn't going to happen. So again, it was a good story. Apparently, Phillip Rivers has won over the locker room through and through. He's commanding the locker room at a high level.
He does something I've never seen for a quarterback. When he's not in there, he just stands on the sidelines watching the game. He doesn't go analyze the Microsoft Surface thing, look at all the plays, talk to the OC. He's just standing on the sideline. He seems to know the offense perfectly.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does it. He runs it for his high school team, his kid's high school team. All right, and finally, the one that I do have here, Patriots at Ravens here.
Patriots, the Pats pounce on banged-up Baltimore. Mr. Cool, Drake May, brings the Patriots back from 11-point deficit in the fourth quarter for the win. The margin of victory was razor-thin. The Patriots clinch a playoff spot and deal a severe blow to the Ravens' playoff hopes. They had an 89-yard drive for the winning score, which was pretty amazing. They were down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Well, they were down 11 points in the fourth quarter with quite a few minutes gone in the fourth quarter. And Mr. Cool brought him back, and he's the big reason they won that game. He and Stephon Diggs, who had 9 catches for 138 yards. And Ramondre Stevenson, who was hanging on to that ball, he was the one that scored that last touchdown on a very nice run. So, hey, the Patriots really needed this game. If they'd lost it, they'd be tied with the Bills with 2 games to go. And they won it. So they need to win another one here. And I think they have to win out, don't they? Still have to win out to win the division.
Well, no, the Bills could lose 1 and they'd be fine. Because the Bills are 11 and what? 11.
They're 1 game ahead of the Bills. So if they lose 1 and the Bills win out, then they're tied at the end of the season.
That's what I'm saying. The Bills just need to lose 1, and the Patriots could lose 1 and they still be fine because they're 1 game ahead.
Well, yeah, if the Bills lose 1, but I don't know whether the Bills would they have.
I don't know. I need to bring it up. But yeah, regardless for this game, Drake May played fine. Drake May played pretty well, but I think the resurgence.
He played great. He had 380 yards.
Yeah, finally,
passing.
He finally broke 300.
I mean, he had a fumble and an interception, which wasn't good, but 380 yards. He came back from that. He didn't let that bother him. I still think he should be in the discussion.
For what?
MVP. Why not? 380 yards in this game.
Right. Well, Matt Stafford just threw for 450 in a loss. So, again, it depends on the way you're looking at it. No, but for this one, though, Travion Henderson goes down with an injury. I think he's done for the year.
What injury does he have?
I think he might not be done for the year. I think it's a concussion. I might be wrong. I'll need to look it up.
No, I thought it was knee.
Was it his knee?
I thought it was leg. Yeah, leg injury.
I don't know. I'll need to look it up. All I know is he was out for the game. Drake May finally had his 4th quarter comeback. We haven't seen it up until this game. He had a couple, game-winning drive, he had a couple go-ahead drives, but ultimately ended up losing. He finally gets his 4th quarter comeback, which is always great against a team notorious for blowing 4th quarter leads and second half double-digit leads, which is what happened again. You blow another 4th quarter lead. Derrick Henry had a tremendous game, but here's the story: Lamar Jackson got hurt. Snoop Huntley was your quarterback. Kind of hard to win.
9 of 10 for 65 yards.
Right, but that's not good. Lamar Jackson was 7 of 10 for 101.
Derrick Henry, 18 carries, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Right, but as soon as you know that they're going to Derrick Henry, you could just guess on that because
Zay Flowers, 7 receptions, 84 yards. He was the one that
I'm a Zay Flowers
game.
believer. I'm surrounded by Zay Flowers haters because they worry about one drop there. And by the way, the fumble. Oh yeah, hold on.
He didn't
First
see
of
it
all,
coming.
Exactly. He didn't even see it coming. We could just tone it down a tiny bit. It's like blaming Brandon Cooks for fumbling in the Super Bowl and getting knocked out, which, by the way, I partially blame him because he was looking left and running right, or looking right, running left. Look where you run, please. But that's, 8 years ago at this point. No, Drake May played pretty damn well. For me, though, this is all about Stephon Diggs. No one had faith in Stephon Diggs anymore. You toxic in Minnesota, you go over to Buffalo. You ruined
Minnesota, Texas.
I was getting there. You went Minnesota to Buffalo to the Houston Texans. You go to Minnesota, you screw things over there. You go to Buffalo, you ruin your relationship with Josh Allen. Then you go over to Houston, get injured. Now you're on the Patriots. People thought you overpaid for him, which, by the way, you could have gone to him, a couple years ago, but you didn't want Mac Jones, so you chose the Texans over him. You go there, sign a 1-year deal. You play pretty well, then get injured. You tear your ACL. Then everyone's like, well, tearing your ACL, how will you look with New England? New England, they were rated, again, worst receiving core in the NFL. Right now, guess what they're rated by PFF?
Top 10.
Number 4.
Number 4.
The Patriots have the 4th best receiving offense in the NFL so far this season.
They have this Williams kid.
Kyle Williams took over Matt Slater's number. Living up to that, I'm saying again, he's not the special teams savant that Matt Slater was, but at least he's not disrespecting the number. I'll give him that.
I think he should get more playing.
Like Tyquan Thornton did with Julian Edelman's
I think he should
number.
get more playing time. He catches.
He's a speedster.
He's a speedster, and he makes some very difficult catches.
I was about to say, that touchdown catch, my God. Again, sideline right there. Great deep ball by Drake May. Great catch by Kyle Williams. Again, but this is the Stephon Diggs redemption year. He's on a 3-year deal. I think he's satisfied in New England. I don't see him and Drake May really butting heads anytime soon.
He seems to be a very good team-oriented guy.
He seems like a leader on the Patriots, which is what they need, especially with Mike Vrabel. I think that's also part of it. Mike Vrabel seems like a guy to keep everybody in line, keep everybody in check. The Vikings, I don't think we're doing that. And Sean McDermott, I just don't think he's a great head coach through and through, personally. But no, this is a great story. The Patriots from 4-13 and back-to-back years.
It's a big win for them.
Oh, 100%, because you just fell apart against the Buffalo Bills.
You're underdogs in this game. So you were losing through parts of this game.
You were down by 11 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And then Drake May and this team coming back, defense coming up big again against Tyler Huntley, but that's beside the point. Doing your job. The old Belichick mantra. Doing your job.
Yeah,
Even though Snoop Huntley was the quarterback, you did your job. And then you ended up winning this game in very nice succession, which, by the way, it was big. Broncos lost, Patriots won. Now, all of a sudden, again, Broncos still the tiebreaker in common games, but they have a tied record right now. So the Patriots still, have an opportunity. 2 games left, down by technically a half game, I think. So there you go. Patriots have an opportunity to take that 1 seed. I already cashed in my bet.
They have the Jets. They should win that game.
Should. By the way, they're 13.5-point favorites against the Jets.
And the last game of the season?
Dolphins.
They should
win out. They should win out. The Broncos have the Chiefs this week. And I'm forgetting their last game here. But give me 2 seconds, I can get it. They should just decimate the Chiefs on Christmas. Chargers. That could be the number 1 seed game right there. Because the Patriots are going to beat the Dolphins. Chargers. We don't even know what time these games are. So we could see potentially if the Patriots win, if they later in the day, which I doubt they will because it's Dolphins-Patriots. I think this one could be a primetime game. Patriots will be buried at 1 p.m. So we'll see. All right, that does wrap up this week. You have one more?
What about our picks for Christmas Day?
Okay. Let's go through it right now. Week 17. Let's start with the first one here. Dallas at Washington, 1 p.m. game. The Dallas Cowboys are favored by 7 points. Who are you taking in this one?
Battle of the irrelevance. I'll take the Cowboys and the points.
I will as well. Josh Johnson. I know the secondary is terrible for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't see Josh Johnson cooking up a storm and keeping this game within more than a touchdown here. All right, how about this? Let's go to the next one here. After this one, let's go with Lions at Vikings.
I like the Lions, and I'll take the points. So minus
7.5. It's minus 7.5 now.
Oh, yeah?
Minus 7.5, according to DraftKings. You still taking the points?
Yeah, I think Brosner, against the Lions defense, it'll be a long day. I'll still take 7. It's 7.5?
7.5, according to DraftKings.
Oh, gee, I don't know. I don't think they'll cover.
Wow.
I think it will be closer than that. Well, no, I take that back. Brosner's starting. I got the Lions in 7.5. Okay?
Give me the Lions and the points as well. And finally, now, this is why you have to watch the show. 2 weeks ago, when we knew Mahomes went down with an ACL, actually, we didn't know exactly what the injury... when we found out it was an ACL that day, we were on the show, and I looked ahead to check the point spread, and we were stunned. I should have had the clip. Stunned. 5.5. So we jumped on the 5.5. So I know right now the point spread is technically, according to DraftKings, 13.5, but we got it at the opening price of Broncos minus 5.5 on the road at the Chiefs.
Well, I got that.
As do I. Through and through. Right now, I got it.
Now, these games, 2 of them are on Netflix.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to see those?
We got Netflix. Yeah. Everybody's Netflix
and Prime.
at this point.
So
all major, streaming services at this
point.
The
major networks aren't picking them up.
No, of course not. All right, that wraps it up for today's show. We'll be back on Friday, post-Christmas Day. Actually, it's on Kwanzaa. Friday's Kwanzaa.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, happy holidays. We'll be here. Start the new year off. Harvey Hour. We'll be back. We'll be back Friday, December 6th, I think that day is. Yeah, December 26th. We'll be right here to recap. I don't even know. These games, I feel like, are all going to be terrible. Because you think again, Dak Prescott against Josh Johnson.
The snooze fest.
Dak Prescott against Josh Johnson. Jared Goff against Max Brosmer. Then you have Bo Nix against, I don't even know who the quarterback is. I think they picked one up today. But we'll see. I think it's still going to be the third string quarterback for the Chiefs because Gardner Minshew's on season-ending IR. So it's gonna be rough out here. But yeah, we'll be back here Friday to recap all the Christmas games and also to pick all of Week 17's games. The regular season is so close to being over, and then we got postseason. We got postseason predictions. We'll get into it all. But yeah, make sure you tune in to Friday's show around 6:30 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube.
Hi, Grandpa.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.